So I'm a designer. I think I identify as a designer more than anything else. I think if someone said, "Who are you?" I would probably say designer before saying, I'm a woman or I'm British or I'm a designer. That's how I see myself. And I work at AKQA and I've got an amazing team of, in Melbourne we've got about 25 brilliant designers. Some of the most talented people I've ever worked with are designers. They're from over 10 different countries, they're diverse, they're interesting, they do brilliant work. So I'm a design director, got this brilliant team of designers, and I work at AKQA, which is a strategic design agency. We do all this brilliant work, which really is about design. So it's an odd topic to be talking about, saying don't hire any more designers. I just want to back it up with design is my life. This is very important to me. And at AKQA, we believe that design is the practice of designing culturally relevant anything with a focus placed on the quality of the user experience. Practice doing it over and over again. Culturally relevant means you need to immerse yourself in culture and understand things and try different things. Sometimes watch Married at First Sight just because you need to know what's going on in the world. The gap is anything. So we think that isn't interfaces, that isn't mobile apps. That's you can use your design skills to design anything. With a focus placed on the quality, it's got to be good, of the user experience. User experience is the outcome of it, a great user experience, not a discipline, not something we have to research. This is the outcome of it. So that's a little intro. I'm going to split it into 3 sections. Why I believe this, what's backing it up, and what do we need to do. So there's 2 audiences. I hope you fit into one of these 2. Hopefully some of the people in this room have designer at the end of their title or the beginning of their title or some way in their job. So it's for you, and it's also for everybody else. Because designers, we need to understand how to evolve and adapt. Our jobs are definitely changing. We need to understand this. And for everyone else, you need to understand more about design and how it works in your organization. Whether you work in a business or an organization or a charity or a school or whatever it is, design is a vital part of that business. And at the moment, this is a terrible metaphor because for years we've rallied against design being seen as glitter. But think of the power of design being these little grains of glitter. And at the moment, I think this is how we are. We're in this vessel, we're contained. This is the power of design in this tub. But design should be everywhere. Those little bits of glitter, the tub should be opened and thrown everywhere because design is not just a service. It is a service, it's something we sell, but it's not just a service. Design should be in every part of an organization or a business. It should be like this, infiltrating every part. So if design is currently this and we want to get it to this, let's talk about some of the things we might have to do. And my first thought is, I don't think designers are going to help us get there. They're brilliant. I don't know if the designers are the people who are going to help throw the glitter jar open. So it's Friday morning, we'll do a kind of BuzzFeed style 5 reasons why not. We couldn't even design our job titles. Like, people are taking the piss out of us, putting together things like this. Actually, they're so close to the truth. This was just a quick look on LinkedIn of open jobs with designer in the title. Not only have we got all the different seniority levels, we've got hundreds of different things that go in front of designer, after designer. Creative designer, I'd worry that we were employing, or people were thinking themselves as a non-creative designer. FMCG designer, someone who just designs for fast-moving consumer goods. I love the last one's great, designer, that's what I think. Presentation designer, that's a useful skill. I think I'd love a presentation designer. But we're designers. We should have been able to design a better solution to our job titles. So that's reason number 1. We couldn't design the basic things in life, like our own jobs. Number 2, design is a superpower. I fundamentally believe that designers are the most powerful people in the world. but we're just a little bit too humble and we're not really using our superpowers. Maybe we're a bit lazy, I don't know. But we can control people's minds. The designer who chose to make the 7-Up bottle more yellow made people believe it tasted more lemony. When the designer made it green, people believe it tastes more limey. We can control people's minds. The London Tube map is one of the greatest pieces of design I think that's ever been done, and we can move people around. Just through the power of design, you can move people. It's not even geographically accurate. And then when we put the walking times in between the tube stations, we moved people in a different way. And got people's steps up and changed the congestion on the tube, so we can control the way people behave with design. And we can tell compelling stories and ideas in the briefest of moments faster than anyone else. And our real superpower is if a designer has an idea, we can make it happen. We can make the website, we can turn it into something. We have a superpower we're not using. Another reason I don't want to hire any more designers, we're not using our superpower. And sadly, this one makes me really sad, we're no longer special. So design used to be very exclusive, and I loved that feeling of people saying, oh, I just don't know how you do it, that's incredible, wow. But now you can get Squarespace, you can build your own website, there's templates, design's been democratized. Photoshop used to be just a little sort of niche app, now everyone's got it on their phone. There's nothing special about being a designer anymore. You can buy a logo for $5, and if you're starting your own business, don't do that, but you can. So there's nothing special about us. Why are people still hiring designers if there's nothing special about it? One of the problems is we still think we're quite special. And we treat design as a service. So number 4, I've alluded to already, we still see design as something we give away for a fixed cost, which is true, but it's not all that design is. Sadly, we love working in these teams with other designers. We still have design departments in businesses. The way that we're structured in most organizations, you have a team of designers, or you have a designer who sits in a marketing team. And if designers are sitting with other designers in a design department, you're the glitter in the jar. And this is a really sad one. We don't understand design anymore. There are very few designers who are keeping their mind open as to what design really is and the power of it. And there's so much to learn. I heard someone say once before about being a designer, it's not like being a firefighter where they suddenly introduce a new type of fire that you have to put out. You have to adapt all the time. There's new software. People using Sketch, they're going back to Photoshop, or people using Figma. It's so much to keep on top of. So it's not unsurprising that we've forgotten or haven't kept up with the way that design's evolved. So 5 reasons. We ruined our own job titles. We forget to use our superpowers. We're not special anymore. We treat design as a service, and we're fundamentally misunderstanding the power of design, which is very depressing. So let's get on to what we should do. Design is most powerful when culturally embedded and used to structure strategy. This means using design thinking, creating a culture that allows for design. It means allowing for exploration and experimentation, and it isn't coming from designers. It should come from everybody in an organization or a business. It also means that designers need to let go of the responsibility of design and start sharing some of their ways of working and thinking. We're not special anymore. Now, this isn't a new idea, so it's surprising that it's taking so long to kind of catch on. This is from 2003, where the Danish Design Centre designed the sort of ladder of like the power of design. So the businesses that had no design at all are at the bottom, and the businesses that are using design as a strategy are at the top. So it's a really long time ago, but the Envision Design Report last year said that even in the last 3 years, the landscape has changed dramatically. So we don't need to be hard on ourselves that we aren't keeping up, and this has been known for a long time, and perhaps we haven't adapted, but it's time to be doing something now. So I've created a little bit of a litmus test to see if, you might be sitting there thinking, no, I am doing all this. This is not news to me. I'm a designer, or I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur who understands all this, the power of design, the importance of it. So the litmus test, go and speak to your finance department or someone who works with you who's in finance. I don't know if you could ever really put a number to it. I know if you take design away, it's not going to work. You know, it could be the most important, but it could be most of the value of the company. That's a finance director. I don't know if all designers believe that. And this is a company who make an FMCG company. They've probably got some FMCG designers, actually. And so one of the things they make is drain cleaner. So this is the finance manager of a company that make drain cleaner who's talking more eloquently about design than a lot of designers. Design should be part of our organisational culture. It should be embedded in how we do things, who we are, everything, you know, start to finish. This bottle, it looks like that because that's who we are. Virgin, one of our global clients, I think they sum it up nicely. Brand and design is not something that is done by a team of crazy kids on the third floor, but it's part of everything, part of everybody's world. I really like being one of those crazy kids on the third floor. I even worked in an agency where we did sit on the third floor, all the designers together, and everyone was intimidated to come onto the third floor and talk to us. We thought that was great. And in case you're not clear on the value of throwing open the glitter jar and not thinking about ourselves as designers in our little design departments, the benefits are many and well researched. Longevity and innovation, increased revenue, faster speed to market. People who work in organisations like this are happier. It's really nice to be happy at work. So in case you're not clear, if there's designers in the room, this is the power of design that you need to be talking about in every part of your organisation. So let's look at some examples of who's doing it well. Virgin, one of our clients. There's obviously been a race over the last, well, quite a while ago now, to get the flatbeds in aeroplanes. And everyone was sending that brief to the product design departments of these companies, get that flatbed made. Virgin understood that what the flatbed represented was ease and comfort and a feeling of being at home and waking up in a place where you feel like maybe you haven't been on a flight. So they designed the whole experience of from when you buy the ticket all the way through to landing at the airport. How can you make every single part of that journey feel the same as having a flatbed? Which is a beautiful way of design, being in an organisation and not just as a brief. Now, obviously, I'm going to mention some. Virgin's a very obvious organisation that incorporates design into its culture. Apple is another one, but it's hard not to mention them. And I'm going to mention some others as well. Apple, of course, is the unboxing experience. Steve Jobs created this culture of the importance of design. Products are designed beautifully, but look at the way they've started talking about privacy. And almost every other company and organisation, the brief was, can we put an updated privacy policy on the website? We had briefs at AKQA from clients that said, we just need to update our privacy. That turns out it's important to customers that their data is kept private. And yet look at the way Apple approached it with design in their culture. There's loads of TVCs. Have you seen the ads? So they're everywhere. They were also at CES talking about the impact of privacy. They created the new pages on the website as well. They also lobbied Parliament to create tighter privacy laws. So design in an organisation works across everything. If you have design in your culture, you look at briefs in new ways. You think, how can this solve and connect the dots in all sorts of different ways? And it starts with the customer. So 2 examples of companies we would expect to be working in this way. Got loads of money. Of course, they can overinvest in design. It's a bit of a luxury, people think. But no, this is a superannuation company, Hester, we work with, who have design in their culture. We actually sent some people on some design thinking courses, and the Hester IT people were at the design thinking course. Amazing. We do all sorts of work for them, but they continue to back us up in the way that they use design in their organisation. And lots of their business challenges and the way that they prioritise work is done with the member first. So they think about what's most important for the member, and then they validate it as a business decision. That's an example of design being in the culture of their organisation. Their C-suite come to design conferences. I think in most agencies, the C-suite don't come to design conferences. Another area that you think, yeah, of course Apple have design in their culture, of course Virgin have design in their culture. Let's look at some organisations and some businesses and some areas where there's not so much money. In Australia, co-design is written into mental health policy, which is incredible. They know that if you engage service users and you bring people in to help design the services that they're going to need, practitioners, service users, you get better results. People feel more empowered. They have more effective advocacy, and the results are better. The amount of money being invested in mental health is having a higher impact because people are using design to solve these problems. So design is helping reduce suicide rates. And in Australia, it's the right of everyone to be involved in designing the way that these treatments and programs are run and set up. So we know it's worth it. We know lots of companies and organisations are doing it in some way. What should we do? So for the designers in the room, a bit of a list. Seek out multidiscipline teams, especially if you're freelance, especially if you're used to working on your own and you're used to holding your design or your discipline like this. Seek out multidiscipline teams, even if it's multidiscipline friends. Start something with other people who do something different to you. When you learn something, pass it on. Designers hear all sorts of insights, especially when they're doing research or when they're in meetings with clients. They don't pass on to anyone. They go, well, it's not relevant to me. Pass on anything that you learn to other people in your organisation or other people that you work with that they can do something with. Show the power of design in the way that you pass on information. Talk about your process. I think designers tend to take for granted the way that they work. Everyone who is a designer has a process, whether that's a formal one you've come up with, one that someone's given you. Talk about it. People don't know how brilliant those processes are and how they can solve any problem. So start talking about how you work. If you work in an organisation, just start noticing the areas where design could solve problems. You'd be amazed at the number of people who don't understand that. So just start getting involved in those processes and ways of working in your business. Everybody has something they hate about their office or their workplace or the finance department. Find ways that design can help solve those problems and talk about it. Start thinking about design as a tool, not a service. Of course, part of what we do is creating something and giving it away for money, but it's also a tool and a way of solving problems. One of the other brilliant things about being a designer is if you don't make your point first time, if what you're saying is not getting through, you can design the way you say it. Go back, use your process, go broad, narrow in, go broad, narrow in, design a better way to communicate your ideas. If you're not getting your voice heard, then it's your fault. Now, sadly, there's no defined way to measure value of design. So the most important thing you can do as designers and creatives is become a trusted voice. When people trust you and trust what you say, then they implicitly understand the value of design. So until we can measure it, you need to be building trust with all sorts of people you work with, not just other designers. Be curious about culture. These sort of conferences are amazing because you get to see all sorts of different people and different ideas. And the way that Portfest is structured means that there's a huge diverse range of topics. But you need to be like that in life, understanding people's problems, experiencing different things, understanding culture. I think designers are not great at broadening their horizon. We like to be with other designers. We like to look at other people's design work. Go and be curious about something else. And use your superpower. If you didn't know you had one, today's the day that you realise that you do. Design is a superpower. And if you're not using it for something great, then go and look at what you're doing. And be braver. Our jobs are changing. There is every chance our jobs aren't going to exist in the future. We need to be braver now about the decisions we're making and the way that we look at our work. And there's no better time to be doing it. Designers have to be brave, so just be a little bit braver. And look beyond your current capability. Like I said, it's really hard to keep up with everything that's going on, keep up with all the software, keep up with all the projects and clients and your own goals, but just always be looking slightly beyond what your capability is and your discipline. If you see yourself as, this is my discipline, just look slightly beyond your current capability. And for everyone else, how can you help? How can we do this? Hire and seek out cross-functional teams. Don't worry about structures and job titles. Hire a diverse range of people who can work together to solve problems and connect the dots. Structures, it turns out, in the Envision design report last year, for those who read it, structure isn't that important. It doesn't matter how many design directors you have. You don't need a design director. Structures aren't important for getting design into organisations. It's a cultural thing. It's a way of working. It's a knowledge thing. Be a sponsor or champion. Don't go and buy $5 logos. If you understand the power of design, invest in design and be a champion of your designers and your creatives. And learn about it. We have people in our delivery teams who come to me and say, I've seen this brilliant Netflix documentary on design. Yes, it's all there. There's books, there's people to talk to, there's Netflix documentaries. Go and learn something about design. Trust and support your talent. Designers need space to fail and to mess things up occasionally, and they need space in their process, so they can't always fit things to exact time boxes. So trust and support your talent. Allow for failure. I mean, everyone's big on failure at the moment, but eventually you get to success with design, but you do need to allow space. It's very difficult for designers to really get design into organisations and to think bigger if we don't allow them room for a little bit of trial and error, which is part of the design process, running multiple experiments. And look for opportunities to use design. Design is about connecting the dots. If you can see somewhere what needs another way of thinking, that's an opportunity to use design. Support new approaches. Increasingly, we have the pressures of time and money in our creative jobs. And supporting new approaches is really risky. But try it. Just try. We're going to try this in a different way. We're going to do something new, and I'm going to back it. Make a designer friend. If a designer's, make a developer friend, or make a producer friend, or a business friend. Whoever it is, find someone who can teach you about something you don't know. You can probably find them here. So to summarise, when you use design strategically, which is what I'm telling everyone to do, establish the right conditions for it, which is about making room for risk and making room for failure and supporting your design talent. In core processes, which means not design as a discipline, you experience deeper customer understanding, which is what we all want to do. Employee satisfaction, everyone wants to be happy at work. Bolder exploration, which is what life is all about. And experimentation, more informed decisions, which means you can get to the right answers quicker and people back you, and you make more money. So hopefully there's something in there that is for everyone in this room. And if you remember one thing today, it's that design is glitter, which is Okay, maybe don't remember that. Remember opening the glitter jar and throwing the glitter out. Design needs to be in every part of the organisation. It needs to be that bit of glitter that you find on your face after a party. Like that, if you remember one thing, open the glitter jar. And if you do one thing, you think, yeah, just need a bit of a litmus test of how we're doing, go and speak to your finance department and ask them what they think the value of design is.